What's the deal, my people? You know who it is, the Don Tony Teflon, the Lady Elamar. You are not listening to the sexiest podcast in the world. The Lady and the Don Elamar. How are you?
Every time, everything is better when I'm here. So glad to be here. How are you, Tony?
I'm seeing you. I am in a great mood. Great mood to see all our friends in the chat. Y'all know what time it is. What up to JR in the building rocking with us? What up to Salvance up in the building rocking with us? What up to Coco in the building? What up to Jesse Rivera is in there? Our girl Colorway is in the building. Jesse Rivera is in here. Purple Alizé is here. Did it highlight Purple Alizé? Let's make sure we get that right. John Haymaker, as always, is in here. Gold Soul is in the building rocking with us. Shayna Peterson is in here rocking with us. Just Genus is in here. Mikey P, Tasha Talks, Craig is in the building rocking with us. Lady Ace is in here. We're going to talk about these damn dirty ass monsters. Nisha, what's going on? And Sheree, I see you all. All right, so and Daniel, keep popping up. Keep shout out. We're gonna talk about all of them, all these dirty ass monsters.
But they sure are dirty. Yes, they
are dirty, right? And I'm not gonna be as animated as I was yesterday when I was by myself. I got Elamar with me. I got to be a little more, restrained. But that being said, we are going to set this off like we always do with our homegirl, Colorway.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera.
And it can't get any better than that.
Perfect. Tony, every time I hear this song, it kind of overtakes my memory of the other, song. So to me, from now on, this will be what's going to play in my head when I'm thinking of the show.
This is what it is. This is the Teflon TV anthem of what's going on. Colorway is running it. But one important thing I want y'all to understand is that the song has meaning. Like, you don't just pick a song to say this to put in the beginning of your show, right? Everything that they put, like if you go through all the theme songs for every show ever made, and you'll see there's a meaning to it that describes the show. Mm-hmm. You could say Cheers as a show, and Cheers is the song's about them hanging out the bar. It doesn't say that specifically, but it says there's a place where everybody knows your name, and that place is Cheers, where everyone all is friends, right? When you hear Friends, the show Friends, I'll be there for you, talking about a bunch of friends that are all together that'll be there for each other. I mean, you can go through the Jeffersons, moving on up, talking about the Jeffersons, how they came from Queens and moved up to Manhattan. It doesn't matter the show. When you hear the opening song, it means something about the show. So this song means something very important about the show that we're watching right now. You know, so that is what it is. So when you put all that together, you know, Golden Girls, thank you for being a friend, one of the greatest songs of all time, right? And everything else, as it means something. It all means something. I think I know, and I'm there. I'll do a video on it. But besides that, we're talking here about part 2 on these dirty ass monsters. Now, Omar wasn't able to.
No, I have to rewatch it, Tony. I see some comments here that it was very interesting. I was extra busy this week. It seems like it's a Friday today, but it's a Wednesday. I need to rewatch it. Definitely.
Yeah, these people, you know, I not these people. I'm sorry. I had to, you know, let loose on them, but I had to give it to them palatable. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, their voice calls coming in already. You don't take calls this early.
Oh,
Let me explain to them.
excitement.
1 second. Let me
Okay.
tell them you don't take calls.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I need to rewatch it. It's
What's going on? Yes. That's me. What's going on? What's going on, boss? All right. So wait 1 second. I have to make it so that the people in the chat can hear you. All right. Give me 1 second. I had this. Get rid of our girl. And nope, wrong button.
Peter says that KP has the voicemail on speed dial.
It is. It's not KP. This is
It's
Harlem
not
World.
okay.
This is Harlem World. All right, Harlem, we
All right.
can hear you now. What's going on?
I just want to say, man, I never loved and hated a show at the same time of my life. Never.
Why is that?
I love.
Yeah, good.
Yo, listen, man. I watch that. I stay up Saturday at 12:01 to watch it when it come on.
Yeah.
12:01. I would leave a club or party to go home to catch that episode. For them to be like, for me to say, they're gonna give me something. They're gonna give me one answer. And then for them not to give me nothing each and every episode, I am frustrated, but I love it. I keep coming back for more. It's like a toxic relationship. I don't understand. I really don't understand, man. I done asked a million people what they think, and nobody has came up with a logical answer. But I'm gonna keep coming back.
All right.
I'm gonna keep coming back.
What are the questions that you want answered?
I want to know, where are they? Are they dead?
All right, so we can answer. So the dead part, they are not dead. I think we've been given proof about that multiple times that they're not dead. Number one, we had Tabitha write that down on the wall with Jim. Right? That's one of the questions she put there. Did we survive the accident?
Okay.
All right, so that means when they put that there, that people who wrote the show knew that people would think that they were dead. That's why they put that up there. And then the next episode, she asked Father Khatri, and then he answered and said, "No, you're not dead." And he gave a long out answer. And his answer, he said, "I had time to perfect this answer," meaning that she wasn't the first one to think that. So to me, that makes me believe that the dead thing is done. They're not dead.
So, is it aliens?
You're 100% right. It is. I mean, I can't.
It's aliens?
Yes, it is. You're right.
Oh, man.
You're right. You're right. Now it's either two ways of aliens. It's either they captured an alien or aliens are running experiment. You know, it's one or the other. Human beings have captured an alien. They're using the technology and everything, or their aliens are running experiments on humans. One or the other. But it definitely has to do with aliens.
I want to believe you, man. I want to believe you, man.
It's like the t-shirt. I want to believe.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I felt like the obvious ones was they're dead, and you said you answered that. But the other obvious one is that it is aliens. I think that's gonna be too obvious for the writers to write that.
I
Man.
haven't.
I just don't.
I don't think anyone else has said it though. You know what I mean? Like when you looked at it, if they weren't aliens, right? The same
Mhm.
way that they addressed the dead part, they would address the aliens in the show. They would put that in there because if they know that it's aliens and they know people are gonna think that, they'll address it and they'll say it to quash that rumor. And they've never addressed it. They never even brought it up and never even say anything about it. But what they did bring up and what they did say in last season was Boyd said, so let me get this right. We got a little boy helping people running around the magical forest, right? They said that
Right.
specifically, meaning he's letting you know how ridiculous that sounds. That's why he said it.
Right.
You know, because that's not what it is. It's not no little boy. It's not a magic forest with trees that make people disappear. It says in the credits in the description of the show that this is a sci-fi horror show.
You's a smart man.
We've seen the horror. Where's the sci-fi?
You is a smart man. I gotta give it to you, man.
We from this is what we do. We from New York, man. This is what we do, right?
I appreciate the feedback, the question, the answers, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love your show. I watch every time an episode appears. I want you to come on as soon as the episode go off. But I wait till the next day on that Sunday after you air or Monday for the whole recap, and I always watch it. I put all my people on, I put my cousins on, I put everybody on, and you keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
I'm a sense cash too, bro.
I appreciate it. I have to do it on Sunday because it airs on the regular network channel on Sunday.
Right.
So I do it after the episode air. Or I would be live that morning, because I'm up too with you. I'm up there too watching it. You know what I mean?
One more question. When is the did they start to have a date for season 3 yet or no?
There's no date because of the strike and everything else. So we're not going to get.
Oh yeah.
Because Harold can't shoot. The other actors who are in Canada, they could shoot, but Harold can't shoot. He's on strike.
Wow. All right, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you,
No
man.
problem,
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Much
you.
love, bro.
One.
That was a great call.
That's the way all calls should be.
Yeah.
You know, all calls should be like that because they would know. Elmar knows. We've asked experts, and this is what the experts are saying.
Extraterrestrial.
He said it.
That's it. We don't just say go by our word. The experts we questioned that came on and said, and I like everyone to know. What up to my man Phil the Issues guy? I seen him pop his head in there real quick. I'll let you all know. You see the Don and LMR. I'm rocking the buttons open and for LMR because she's got the low top. With the little
It's hot in here. It's hot. It's a hot summer.
Don't
so.
say that because people are gonna start singing Nelly's song to you and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what that is, and I don't know if I want to.
And everything. All right, so we are here. We're talking about the monsters themselves and what are going on with the monsters. So, Elmar, we did a whole show on it already.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the monsters? What do you think they are? Let me play this one thing from KP that he put last week that we get a chance, and maybe we could run it off of this. All right.
Tony, they are vampires. They don't eat. They can't come out at night. They can't enter your house unless you invite them in. Like they turn into they have weird monster faces with fangs. They're fucking vampires, Tony. They're fucking vampires. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong. Lamar.
Well, you know, the whole thing about vampires, that would make it a fantasy, not... Well, would it be fantasy or sci-fi? I'm thinking more fantasy if it would be vampires. So it would be labeled differently. Now, when we're thinking about vampires from different perspective, I have seen some great... I forgot. I think it was called The Strain or Strain. That was one of my favorite... Actually, my favorite vampire, I guess, show in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And they took it from a perspective of a worm. It's an actual worm that you get infected with.
Mm-hmm.
The worms go into your body and you become a vampire. So we call them vampires, but it may be a virus from the a bug that crawled into your, inside your skin. You get infected, and maybe that's their version of vampires, but what we call vampires, but are technically, people infected with the virus. Maybe
Mhm.
the experiment went wrong, whatever they're doing, and maybe this is what's happening. So yeah,
Right.
I get it, but I don't think it's fantasy. If it's more sci-fi.
Yeah, so we've seen this in what, The Last of Us, right? The cordyceps is a fungus that possess these people and turn them into the creatures that they become, the clickers and the bloaters and everything else. We could see that, but so it could be that way. We have been presented with bloodworms in the show, right? And we had people come on our channel and say specifically that they were alien parasites. So
Mm.
quite possibly these alien parasites could have been on these creatures, infected them, and turned them into what they are. It could have been some type of experiment trying to. Let's say it's the government's experiment. Maybe they're trying to make some form of super soldiers, some undercover people that assassinate people that people wouldn't suspect, and everything else. It could be a situation like that, right? If it was aliens, aliens could be ready to die out. Maybe they're about to die. Their race is about to die. Their DNA is something wrong. So they're going from planet to planet, searching for a species that they can use their DNA to save their planet's life. It could be something like that. Carla Way, in case you can't see it in the comments, she says that's a lovely necklace, Eleanor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And so it could be a situation like that when dealing with these things. So, but as for straight vampires, as he's trying to tell me what I think, KP, and I'm trying to put words in KP's mouth,
Mhm.
but I think he's trying to say turn into a bat, fly off, blood sucking vampire. Now, listen, you have some validity when you say that they can't enter your house without permission. All right. That is a vampire thing. We do see that in the show, but we see that with a talisman at the door, right? It's not, there's no talisman, I do believe, at the door that a vampire can't get through when they're inside the house and need to be invited to the house. So that would be a little bit different there. In Lovecraft Country, when people had magic, they put the magic spell with the blood outside the door, and then other people with magic could not enter the house. It was like a protection barrier. But that was a hoodoo spell that they put up in there to prevent that. So what up to my man Mandra? I'll see you, brother, in there. So again, we haven't. If you want to say they're turning into crows instead of bats, I'm not gonna. I don't think that's the case. But I won't argue that because I can't prove that right or wrong. But what I can prove right or wrong is that the number one thing that I've seen about all vampires is that they drink blood to live. I think that is the key element of being a vampire. I think that is what it is. And I have not seen that at all in 2 seasons from any of these creatures right now. So I just can't see, for that reason, I just can't see it being a vampire.
We would see them more of a, like a swarm around the body, and maybe not necessarily seeing them sucking the blood out, but them jumping the body like we normally see in other movies where vampires just jump to drink the blood. And those monsters are awfully dry inside, so they don't look too vampire-y to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the vampire myself with the creature.
Like a traditional vampire, that's what
Yeah,
I'm talking about. Like the one that,
another thing. Now listen, they could have drew for a lot of different things to make these creatures. We don't know exactly what they could have took a little from here, a little from there, and everything else. Kawan wants to know, why do the monsters sleep? That is a very interesting question. They do sleep. The monsters do sleep. We have a special guest. He's like popping in. Well, we'll see if they pop in. But we see the monsters sleep. Why do the monsters sleep? Why do you think they're not robots? We know that, right? So we see them open it up. It's not a robot.
Yeah.
It does seem like. So why do they sleep? Yeah. Are they actually sleeping, or do they get activated? Because I think they're not sleeping. I think they only get activated. What do you think? Because when Tabitha, and I'm just going to say this real quick, I'm sorry. But But when
Mhm.
Tabitha and Victor were going through, supposedly they were sleeping, and then all of a sudden they just got activated
Mhm.
and alerted, probably when they knew they were down there. And they all activated at the same exact time.
Mhm.
Now, Elamar, in your household, does everybody wake up at the same exact time every day?
Well, technically, I would say no, but if they do, there's hell to pay if they wake me up. Obviously.
Okay, so and
No, definitely
anyone in
not.
the chat, and you have a household, does
Yeah.
everyone wake up at the same exact time? That answer is no. The only time something comes on at the same exact time is if it's automated,
Yeah.
right? You can automate your
Or
curtains to open
emergency.
up or something like that.
Mhm.
That's when stuff comes in at the same exact time. So when I look at these vampires or whatever vampires, KP got me saying vampires, goddamn it, they ain't no damn vampire. And look at these creatures. I don't think they're sleeping. But Elamar, what do you think?
Yeah, so now if it was again fantasy, they would just kind of, not sleep at all. I think they would not sleep at all if it was fantasy. Like, there's no need. It's just magic keeping them, walking around, not even running around. The science part of it is the science fiction part of it makes me think that there should be some kind of, like you said, activation all at once, or like I said, in an emergency of some kind, that they are they're waking up for some reason. As far as sleeping, I think it's more of I don't know if their bodies wear out or not. Like, we don't want them, or whoever has them, controls them. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, walk in circles? If they're not needed, why have them move around? Just, sit them down, turn them off, deactivate them. Um, and I don't know if it's to regenerate, but again, I think there must be something. If it's not fantasy, there has to be some kind of a period of downtime, because there has to be some kind of the so-called science, even though it's fiction to it.
Mm-hmm. The bottom line is when we seen them wake up, they all did it at the same time. They can't wake up at the same time. It's just not factual. Piano Key Joe says, I did notice the monsters always come in the night and they have a predictable way of being so kind of automated. I mean, it's automation. I mean, it could be nothing else. Nothing. You can't wake up again. And I went through this before, and I'll go through with Elamar right now, right here, and I'll say it, docilely, and not like I said. That's a word, docile.
Mhm.
Like, when we seen the pictures down there that Victor claims that the monsters drew, and I was saying it, and it's funny, and I've made a joke about it, but the bottom line is when you look at those pictures in there, especially that red creature that was painted down there, supposedly
Mhm.
they painted them in the dark. There's
Mhm.
no lights down there. It's pitch black, but yet they were still able to paint these creatures. And when they did paint that red creature, the red never came out of the line once. It's all in the black. Like there's black outline. That red doesn't jump out that black outline. Not one time. Not once. It's perfectly put in there. Now, I've seen a lot of creatures. I've seen the milkman creature. I've seen the wedding creature. I've seen the cheerleader creature, the electronic creature, the electric guy. I've seen the cowboy creature, the nurse creature, but I ain't seen no painter creature. I
Right.
didn't see no Bob Ross down there with his afro. Now, Bob Ross creature was there walking around with his
Oh,
little paintbrush, making friendly trees and happy trees.
right.
100%. There was no Bob Ross creature down there.
Oh gosh.
So I just can't see
Hmm.
them actually being the ones who painted that stuff down
Hmm.
there. I don't believe it was them at all.
So I didn't watch the show that you did the other day, but do you think some survivors or somebody did it to kind of like let people know what they saw? What do you think? Who
Someone,
did
someone,
that?
someone did it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't those creatures.
Like,
It
why would
was,
they be like, "Oh, let me paint our
it,
family.
yeah,
Let's go." Like, there's
it
no
wasn't
doodling in
them.
the
It was
cave there.
something else. Victor said it was the creatures that did it. That's what Victor thinks. He don't know no better, right? At the time, he says they like to
Mm.
paint too, automatically casting blame on the
Hmm.
creatures for doing it because he's figuring, hey, they're the only ones living down here. They're
Hmm.
all we know. But in actuality, they were not made by those creatures. Those drawings were made by something else. And know who made those drawings? I'm going to tell you right now. It was the person that is actually captured in there by the people running the show, the ones that are contacting Sarah that said they want to go home too. Those are the ones who did that goddamn drawing down there. Because probably they were hiding out there first before they got discovered in court. They probably went down there and hid out and then drew everything on there and then got bagged up. It's a good chance something like that happened. And dealing with that whole situation down there, I think they fled people and everything else. Peter Griffin says he's got a Bob Ross Walmart t-shirt somewhere around here. Go find it, Peter. And everything else. But it wasn't them. It wasn't the creatures who drew those things up there at all.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense for creatures all of a sudden to draw stuff. Like why? With what?
Yeah,
How are they gonna, because that was tall ceiling and the creature wasn't just kind of like right there. It was, I think I remember it being quite tall, the painting. Again, maybe that's a faulty memory, but I can see a creature like jumping up and down with the crayon or paint doing that.
Again, and this whole show reminds me of Harold and his Purple Crayon. And that book, go watch that. I think it was a cartoon series for a second, but it was a book I read when I was a child about a little boy named Harold who had a purple crayon, kind of like Victor has crayons, and whatever he drew came to life in his world. Like I said, he wanted the street to walk down. He drew the street. There was a street there. He needed the sunset. He drew the sun setting. The sun started to set. Whatever he drew came to life, and that's what it is and stuff. So that's the way I see it.
It reminds me of oh gosh, this is like just the glimpses of it when I was younger. What was that show? Tales from the Crypt. And there was a story about a boy who lived with, I'm assuming, his grandparents. And for whatever reason, the boy, long story short, basically what he either thought or imagined or wished for happened. And basically he ended up killing, I think, his grandfather because like the heart attack, because he got angry, upset, and basically killed his, so like not a crayon per se, although there might have been a crayon. I don't remember it right now. But yeah, a boy making things happen with his powers. Yeah, that's scary.
Next, we're going to talk about, I know a lot of people, like to say that they were fairies, right? And people said they were fairies. Now, I'm not an expert on fairies or anything else. You know what I mean? I'm not that.
I just know they're mean. Very mean. I just know that they're mean. They're like originally they're very mean. They're not that, Tinkerbell, like all nice and whatnot. They're mean.
The thing about the fairies thing is, number one, from everything I see, fairies can fly. I mean, I that's number one thing that I've seen about. I mean, we covered that show. What was it, Carnival Row?
Yes.
Where the fairies were having sex with people and picking them up in the air while they were having sex with them.
Yep.
Right? And it seems like, to me, that's one thing, like vampires drinking blood, like fairies, that they could fly. They have wings, they could fly. We see nothing like that of these things. Nothing at all. And nothing whatsoever have we seen them do that.
The only thing with wings were cicadas, and good thing they're gone. Because they were disgusting.
And so so for that reason, I really can't see it. I don't know anything else. And when people talk about the fairy thing, they can't give me one fairy thing that fits the build for all of them. It seems they take one thing from this fairy, one thing from that fairy, one thing from that fairy, and put them all together and say they're fairies. So let's go. We have someone here who I guess likes to say, he says slower shapeshift into ravens and or crows. All right, so they may do. I'll take your word for it when you say that they do it, and say they do. But we haven't seen these creatures shapeshift into a crow or raven at all. In fact, we have to say that these creatures are not shapeshifting into crows or ravens. And we have pretty much proof of this situation 100%. The crows and the ravens are always out in the daytime. These creatures are usually sleeping during the daytime, from what we know. Number two, they would know where everybody would be hiding. if they were in the Crow or Ravens, right? Because they would see them go into their place and then they'd be able
Yeah.
to come out and kill them.
Building the trenches, well, not trenches, but like the underground hiding places, they would see that during the day. There would be no chance of survival at
I
the
mean, none.
at that
So they
point.
would see that, and then they would go right there when the sun set and kill every one of them. But yet they have done nothing of the sort. So for these reasons, I have to say that these creatures have not shapeshifted into a raven or a crow at all.
Mhm.
If they did, there would be no survivors anywhere. So that's why I say they have not done. Now, could they have done it? I'm sure they could. They could have. We have no proof either way. But to me, it's just logical to think that if they did, everyone's dead for the reasons that I just said.
Yeah.
So
And-
that's why I think that if people are saying the slaw and that's your thing, then that's the reason why it's not the slaw to me.
Yeah.
Or anything else.
And adding to the whole science fiction, there's the word science in it, and conservation of mass. At that point, turning that a human into a tiny bird would have to be magic. Some kind of closeness of matter would have to be there. No way.
I see him here. I don't know if he's here. Is he there?
Well, I see his sign.
We'll just leave him on the screen.
Okay.
We'll just leave him on the screen.
What a great surprise.
And let's let him sit there.
Yeah.
Until he eventually comes.
Hopefully
on.
that was not a like a butt dial, as in a click in the thing.
We'll leave him there.
There we go.
There he is. Jeez, Phil, it's been a long time, man.
Hey, what's going on? I was just listening along, and I don't think it's vampires or fairies either, but I'm a little bit out of the mix, so I can't really jump in on that too much. I feel like the guy that's catching up late at the party. Yeah, theme songs. You could even add the Sopranos one with "Wake Up This Morning," get yourself a gun. So they probably did pick that for a reason. I don't know if I was missed yet. People in the chat, listen to me talk for a few minutes, and they'll realize I'm definitely not missed. I just talk a lot, so it's kind of hard to tell
I
the
don't know. We got
difference.
people, hey, Phil, Miss T. Oh my God, he's back.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Back.
Oh my God. It's like I'm herpes and I'm back. See, it's not always a good thing when you're back, but I appreciate it. Thank you. It's good to be back kind of here. But
Very nice to hear to
it's
see you
great
back.
to
That
hear.
was such a surprise, and like a good surprise. I'm like, no way.
yeah,
So
I just figured I'd come in unannounced and just show up and hijack the conversation, of course. But yeah, it's good to be. I almost jumped in the other night, but I passed out. I've been busy with work stuff this summer a lot as well.
That is what it is. That is what it is. So yeah, we're going through what these creatures are and everything else. But again, yes, we talk about. Maybe we'll just do a stream about the show, about the song in the show, and break down every word that it's saying, because that's meaning of that show is what the song is what this show is about.
Yeah.
And it's not just, hey, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be? It's not that. It's something else. But it does imply in the song that that song's about a child, right? Asking their parent a question. So you could take it that this show is about a child. The main focus is a child, because that's what this song is, the main focus on that child and the questions that the child is asking and the parent answering the child.
So it's like being a child, asking your parent, then being a parent, and having your children ask you. It's like a circle and continues.
Look at that. Coco said, Phil, I was vacuuming and I heard your voice and I ran to my phone.
Oh, so my voice is so horrible that you could hear it over the vacuuming, and you ran over to the phone for the
Now,
vacuum.
Coco, what vacuum do you have? I love that idea that you can hear us through the vacuum.
Jeez.
No, just kidding.
Phil was trying to make a negative out of it, or positive.
No, I'm kidding. I appreciate it. I do. That's why I'm here, for the love. You know, I live off this sort of stuff, so I appreciate it, everybody. I do.
And all that. What up to our girl Hannah? I'm just gonna shout to say, and Woodrow is back in the building, rocking with us again, and all that. So yeah, so when dealing with what these creatures are, Phil, do you have anything that you think that the creatures, the monsters that are chasing them are? Do you have a definitive answer that you think of they could?
I mean, my definitive answer is, as always, to walk on the fence so I can go back and forth between what I think. I don't think we've had enough information to tell 100%, although I think there are a couple of things of slip-ups that have happened, whether they be people we've talked to that have said things like extraterrestrial, whether they meant to or not. I'm not going to mention who, Hannah, but some people might have said some stuff, or just some signs that I think more than anything, if I believe anything, and I'm going to answer your question with a different answer, of course, I'm not that out of practice. It would be that I think I agree with there being some sort of higher consciousness, some sort of, whether you want to call it a fifth dimensional something, a player that's controlling the game from an outside force that has some sort of control over the playing field, so to speak. And I know that's not necessarily the answer, but I don't think it's vampires. I don't think it's zombies. I don't think it is fairies from what I've seen. I tend to think more demons or aliens, to answer the question directly. Demons or aliens.
There you go. Listen, I guarantee you there's two things going on here. Number one is aliens, and number two, fourth dimensional being. Guarantee that someone in the fourth dimension is.
Oh yeah, I think I added a dimension, like inside
Yes.
my the fifth dimension. It's
The
an
fifth
extra dimension.
Now we have to Google what that is. I forgot what all that stuff is. But Tony and Phil, what you mentioned and what KP in his voicemail added, like he said vampires, and right now it literally triggered something in me about that. Have you seen the Strain? Both of you, have you seen that show?
I have not seen the
I have
Strain.
not.
You have not? Okay, it's a great. I think you would love it. And the thing about the vampires over there, I mean, is they, like I said, people get infected just by touching the worm. People, there's a hive mind, and one vampire, one creature is controlling everything. So if you kill that creature, every single one dies. So kind of like a hive mind, and they're just droning. They don't have any kind of, like, in a way they cannot control themselves. Now there are different levels to that. So I wonder if these monsters, there are different monsters at a different level that have more, what do you call it?
Agency or something.
Yes, thank you. I was looking for that word, exactly that word. Yeah, I wonder if there are different monsters like that.
Someone in the chat asked if I would also take the hot chip challenge. I don't know if I'm going to take it on the alien hill that's Tony's game to play, but we will figure something out for me to have some sort of hot something challenge at the convention. I'll put something on the line. We'll figure out what it is. We'll do the hot ones challenge, or the bomb beyond insanity hot sauce, or something like that, or the hot chip challenge. I'll get in on the game somehow. But
now you're going to be doing that also for aliens, or for something different?
No, I got to pick something else.
You got to pick something else. Okay.
I mean, you could say I already lost it, because I think I want to say, I don't want to listen back to the tape, but I might have made some sort of declarations about the bartender being shady. But I'm not sure if I declared.
The receipts are gonna come back like, Phil, at this time that day you said.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was recorded and what
Right.
what was talked about off air, so I'm not sure.
The Trigger Man says, I think the trees and plants are fighting back. Why would the aliens care about this? I see no proof. And I say these things respectfully, so please don't take it the wrong way. But in all honesty, I see no true proof whatsoever that the plants and the trees are fighting back. I don't understand how they would be fighting back. You'd have to give me some more. I don't think this is a poison ivy situation.
Or a Lord of the Rings. I just think the Ents fighting back against Saruman, you burned us down.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Let the river
out.
Let the river out. Destroy the wizard. One other thing I wanted to mention, that sort of right before I came on, you guys were talking about the Crayon, the book, and I do remember that book. There's also an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where a boy brings Data there or something, and he basically creates this whole planet and a whole universe, and it's some sort of alien creature that creates the whole universe to trap people there because they're bored and they want friends, essentially. And I'm not saying that I think it's something like that, but it could be something like that too. The clues. This could be Tony and Elmar. How do you feel about the whole? And I've had people mention this to me. Is this all Victor's? Is Victor the guy from Squid Game? Spoiler alert. Is Victor really patient one essentially and brought everyone here or something? Do you think there's any validity to that, Tony or Elmar?
I'll let you.
Do you know, like, now that I'm thinking about it, would he be there for that long that he actually forgot that, he was he was
Yeah.
put in there? Like, he completely forgot what, because in Squid Games, the dude knew, right? But in this case, after being there for so many years, he's like completely lost it, being stuck there.
Yeah,
I
I do
will say
think
this. I never watch Squid Game. Never would. I don't watch stupid shows. Now, next, I will say this. If we look at the story of Victor, this doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. That all of a sudden, his mother, his sister, they go to this place for whatever reason they're there, probably stopping off at a pit stop. All of a sudden, this guy goes crazy. He starts killing people, taking kids hostage. Her mother's scared that she's going to take her kids next. She tells them to stay inside this whatever that bunker. When she gets back, and all of a sudden she will save the children, and then they're all going to go home, which means that they didn't live there before. Now he finds her body on the outside, never sees the sister. I believe the mother must have pushed the sister through the tree, and she's going to be with Tabitha is next season. But be after that to believe the whole town was massacred, and Belleville, the 10-year-old kid, survived for how many years by himself in that place? It's just impossible. It never could happen. There's no way it could happen.
I would agree with that. I think if anyone is the author of this place that we've met so far, it's the boy in white. And I'm not saying that's what he is in this place, but if any creature that we've met is that higher power creature that's above everything, in my mind, it's the boy in white's the shady one.
Victor is the boy in white, though.
Maybe he is.
Well, we pulled up the picture of the credits. We've showed the picture already, that where it says it in the credits that he was. That the boy in white's name is Victor.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's the same person.
Yeah, they might have slipped and revealed more than they wanted to.
That's why they pulled that shit down.
Yeah.
But I'm the Don, and nothing hides on the internet, and I caught you.
Maybe they didn't expect the show to be dissected so quickly and so thoroughly, and they kind of like,
They must have forgotten.
Yeah.
They should have been paying attention to who I am. I mean, listen, let's be honest. We come from the Game of Thrones community. Well, they will pick apart the Game of Thrones community. The Song of Ice and Fire, I should really say, will take anything and make it into something. It doesn't matter.
One line, one word, 2 words.
One word, one phrase. Oh, what was that?
The tone of voice in between the lines.
He said,
Yeah.
Matt Raider said some line. Something like Arthur Danes. What did he say? May the world be the war have fortune in the future. May the world have fortune or something. Oh, Mance Raider said that same line. They're the same person. Mance Raider is Rhaegar. It means they're the same person because they said the same thing. And I was like, oh, that's why I made that video making fun of them. And I said, really? I said, man, maybe all these people are Starks because we got all these different people who said winter is coming. I played all the clips everyone else saying winter.
Tywin Lannister is a Stark. Confirmed.
Because they said one line. People will make a mountain out of a molehill in that community. And I'm one of them. I'm one of those people. I'm not gonna lie about it. So that is why I dissect the shit out of stuff. So that's just what it is, you know what I mean? But no, the boy in white, Victor, same person behind this whole shit. Now, whether the boy in white is experiment number 1 who's disappeared, again, the people, remember, I've said this and I'll say this again. The people who talk to Sarah are captured, all right? they want to go home too. That's what they told Sarah. Sarah specifically said, I don't think the boy in white is actually a boy.
Now,
And
Tony, do
it-
you think the people talking to Sarah are Slimy Sally? The you know what I'm talking about? The wet girl in the cave is where
No,
did
I don't think it's
Hmm.
them. I think it's someone else who's captured there.
Hmm.
I think the people talking to Sarah are the ones who turn on the music and the radio because they weren't able to communicate and they're trying to.
How do you think those other extra people, the people in the cave, the one that was playing the bowling game, where do they fit into the mix?
Those are the kids who've been sacrificed.
Some of them aren't the kids
Um,
though, right? I know some of them the kids, but isn't one of them like seems like they were older? Maybe I have to rewatch the
They
season.
were all kids. Every one of them were the kids. Those are the kids
No,
that
I
are
was
being
thinking
put on the
maybe they just
slab.
wouldn't they be the ones saying that they want to go home, like children, like I just want to go home.
Well,
Like
she would specifically say that it was a child talking to her, and she
Mhm.
didn't. Right? So
Mhm.
she never said that. That being said, again, she was those people who are talking to her that want to go home said to her specifically, kill the boy and we can all go home. Now, she thought they were talking about Ethan. And that's why she wanted to kill Ethan. They said specifically, kill the boy and we could all go home. There's only one person in this show who's referred to as a boy, and that is the boy in white. That's who they want her to kill. The boy in white, and they can all go home. He is the one behind the shit.
And again, that is kind of losty with with needing to kill Jacob, and someone else needs to do it. If people that know Lost, there is some tie into what you're saying, Tony, to one of the closure issues on Lost, where you got these brothers and one needs to kill the other one to be released into the world, so to speak, but he can't physically do it himself, so he has to sort of trick other people into doing it, and he ends up tricking someone named Ben and Locke to do it. But anyways, that's beside the point. So there is something to that, at least even in the pedigree of the writing team.
I mean, you could look at the boy in white's face when he pushed Tabitha out the tower. He wasn't happy when he did it. He got an evil face on. Everything that you look at the boy in white that he did and you think he did good, what good did he actually do? Really think about it. He told Sarah and Boyd to go inside the tree. What happened then? Sarah went back to town where they wanted to kill her.
Right.
Boyd was stuck inside of a well where he got these bloodworms that unleashed a bigger evil on the town. So what was happening to them to make them have to go into that tree? Rain? That's all that happened when it was raining. There's nothing else out there. Oh my God, it's mad. You got to get in the tree before something bad happened. What the fuck happened? It just was raining. Rain don't hurt. It wasn't acid rain. It was just rain. And they got scared from some goddamn rain. And then they bounced away and they left because of it. He used that to manipulate them to go in the tree. And he knew exactly where they were going to go in that goddamn tree. And that's it. The bottom line is when Victor threw that rock with the smiley face in that tree, oh, these things, you have no idea where they're going to take you. Well, then why'd you put the face on it? You knew that shit was going to drop right by your feet so you could show it to fucking Ethan. But I thought that you don't know where it's going. See, it's contradicted. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. And that's what it is. And the boy in white is bullshit. He's done nothing. Oh, I'm going to put you down here, Victor, so you can save this chick with her. No, so you could both get killed. Because as soon as they went down, all of a sudden the monster started waking up. And Victor was shook. He wasn't going to go unless it was for Tabitha, who fucking grabbed him by his balls and said, let's get the fuck out of here. He would have died. So when you look at everything that the boy in white has done, he's done nothing that was good.
And just his innocence and being looking like a child, being smaller, being completely dressed in white, clean clothes, and kind of innocent looking. Yeah, we're not buying it. We know better, right?
We've seen these monsters in clean ass clothes too, right?
Hmm.
Every time they're hunting, wait till
Looking for
they
those
show the
woods.
boy in white in his real form. He's gonna have some dirty ass clothes on, just like these monsters' clothes is dirty and everything else. You're gonna see the boy in white's clothes gonna be dirty as fuck, and he ain't gonna be a boy. He's gonna be an old man.
Yeah, he's gonna be like 87 years old. And
What if he turns into that red painting thing? Because it looked like weird looking, right? Like it had
speaking of red,
multiple legs.
he's gonna turn into Melisandre.
Oh,
That
oh,
was traumatizing, man.
that,
Even
that
though
was.
I
Yeah.
called that shit a long time before, and everyone told me I was dumb. I said this chick is 900 years old. You talking about Tony Teflon? Oh, that was another one I got right.
Mhm.
And let me say what up to AK. I seen her in there for a second. I have a chance to say what up to AK Watch and everything else. If you are into Marvel superheroes and shows like that, I would say basically she covers. Go get this black woman and her panel of black women, get their perspective. They give a very unique perspective, and they're funny as fuck too.
Mhm.
So it's a good watch. Go check out AK Watch if you can. She's been a part of my channel since I started this channel. You know what I mean, and everything else. So definitely show her some love and everything else out there, and her and the girls out there. So show them some love and stuff. Especially if you want to do anything Marvel, they about that life and everything. And that's what it is. So let's see. The older boy in white has a knife. The older boy in white has a knife in his hand and appears to be the evil with the crow's mouth. Yes, he does have the crow's mouth. There's no doubt there's a crow's mouth in that person right there. In the picture of the boy in white when he's an old man in his real form as an old man. He definitely has that.
Yeah, and he's holding that knife kind of like hidden between like the lines of where his shorts are. I think it's kind of like on the side. So yeah, he's holding it in one hand.
And that's just what it is. No doubt about it and everything else. And Victor Horta, you're trying to get my attention. You haven't gotten it. In fact, if anyone wants to sit here and say it's not alien or extraterrestrials, you have the chance to get on the phone line and make your case. If not, then we have to go to expert opinion.
We have all sorts of stories, mythologies, legends that could be interpreted as gods, who in reality were misinterpreted extraterrestrials.
With hair like that, how can you argue with the man? He knows what he's talking about.
Of course he does. He's an expert, this guy. This is an expert. I just happen to be cool with him and tell me and everything. Let's go to this. Thank you for the super chat. The monsters are ghouls. Look up the definition. All right. So I will say this. I will look it up right now because that's what you wanted me to do. Look up the ghoul. We will look up ghouls for you. It does say when the child, if you look at the IMDb of the children that are there, one says ghastly child, one says ghoulish child. On those children. That's what they use to describe a ghoulish child and a ghastly child. But as for them being actual ghouls, I will need the definition, but I do not believe that they are ghouls at all. But I do thank you for the super chat.
It says an evil spirit or phantom, especially one supposed to rob graves and feed on dead bodies. So they don't feed on dead bodies. There are no graves. Graves are fine.
There are not. Well, they have some graves and they haven't dug nobody up yet. They have not fed on one dead body yet. In fact, they haven't fed on anybody that we've seen.
Yeah.
We've seen them rip people open, but we have not seen them eat anything. So from the definition that we looked up that you asked us to, it does not say, it proves really that it's not a ghoul. I mean, when you bring up a specific thing, like Phil, right? Let me ask you this. KP said that it's a vampire, right? Would you think that if you're going to show a vampire, you may not show it turn to a bat, right? You may forego that. But you have to show a vampire drinking blood. Do you think that is a main thing that a vampire has to do?
That and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But
and
yeah,
capes.
You need a cape. You need to fight Simon Belmont. But no, really, I agree. There's certain tenets to a vampire. Not everything needs to be true. They don't have to be garlic doesn't have to harm them. They don't necessarily, a cross doesn't need to necessarily stop them in all cases. In fact, in some movies, they joke about that, like in The Lost Boys. You think that will stop me? I'm way too powerful for that. But in general, I would say in 99% of the cases I can think of, I can't think of one difference. Vampires suck blood. That's at least they feed off blood. That's a big. That's the. I'm not looking it up, but I would say that the definition of a vampire has to do with sucking blood, living off the blood of another to a certain extent.
They
But
need some fuel, right, to I guess live or whatever that to exist. And these don't seem to. We don't know where they're getting their fuel from, their energy.
I think to go back to what you guys were talking about before I jumped on, I think they get their energy from that regeneration. That regeneration exactly as what Tony would say on a grid of some sort, but another way could be that, say, like Odo from Deep Space Nine can be in a certain form for so long and then needs to regenerate X amount of hours, which would be similar, the same sort of thing. Like they're on some sort of plan where they have to rest for 7 hours, and or it's a Gremlins thing where they can't be out in the sunlight or something. But I don't think it's that. It seems like it's an active choice by the controlling body to make it sporting for them to only come out at night. It almost seems like part of the game, like it's Richard Dawson in Running Man, like, oh, let's give the people a chance here, and have them only come out have the stalkers only come out at night. That's what it seems like to me on some level, that it's a choice. It's a button push. It's they could easily say, if these people get too in control, like they got with the cicadas, and they took one down, it's okay, let's up this, like the Truman Show thing. Let's up this up at a level, and then bugs are coming in and destroying people in their sleep.
Exactly. And again, she said that it was someone else laughing at Boyd, right, with those bugs, because they were able to do that to them, right? That he brought them back. He was laughing on that. He brought it back. And they said that they were actually able to touch Kenny's arm. So when the bug touched Kenny's arm, whoever was in control of that whole thing was able to feel how Kenny's arm felt through that bug when it touched him in the dream world, right? He was from there. And then Ken, you have to look at what we've seen. We don't know. We've seen Martin chained to that wall, right? Is his name Martin, or am I saying it?
Martin, you're right. You're right.
All right. The other one's name I fuck up. But we see Martin chained to the wall, but we also seen everyone else chained to the wall, and their real body was somewhere else. Right, so we have to assume that Martin's real body wasn't there.
I mean, he did disappear after all of that, right? Like he
didn't turn into dust, right? He just kind of like
his image disappeared there because wherever he was in the other place was able to die.
So you have to figure that whole place now, whether it's a figment of someone's imagination or something, we don't know. We can't tell, but we know that this creature, whatever it was, the higher up. Again, we heard him say there's worse things than these monsters. They're just the tip of the spear. There's things much worse than that. Is able to attack things and touch things and feel things in different type of dimensions, whatever it is. And all
Do you
that.
think going into season 3, and I know it's a little change of subject, but sticking on the monsters that we've seen so far, have we seen the peak of the night stalk, the dream creature, whatever they were called, the peak of them being our main adversary in season 3? Do you think the season gets introduced where we get an upgrade to the danger level of whatever the predators out there are, or do they take time to reestablish the dominance of those of the night terror people? Where do you think they go at the beginning of season 3?
Carla Way is funny. She said that's the most action Kenny ever got.
Poor Kenny.
Yeah.
That's what he gets.
Phil, you were saying the beginning of the season. I don't know if they're going to start a season like that, but towards the end of this season, there were not that many The
encounter.
monsters didn't seem scary to
Exactly.
me. They were like, okay, well, they can get out, they can walk around. Like I mentioned before, oh, I forgot something from the car. Let me just take a peek and run to the car. The first episode, I would not even be by the window.
Yeah, they were
That
more
was
of
the
a
thing.
nuisance at
Yeah,
that point.
now they're exactly. So I think they're graduating to a different kind of level, different kind of monsters at the different level. Maybe that's why I mentioned there may be different levels of those monsters, and once you kind of get used to one and you can run away from them, then making it more interesting, more
Yeah.
challenging. Maybe
It,
those that mess with people's minds, not their bodies, because right now they had to get some exercise, right? You had to go and run around if you wanted to be outside at night. So you got some exercise at night. But this next level may be that you have to be mentally fit to not die from dreaming.
yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to think that, because I mean, you could say that maybe we're done with the dream stuff with the cicadas
Mhm.
gone, but
Yeah,
they could go deeper into that.
true,
If you
true.
start to think about how could they make it scarier, or how could they make it more dangerous in this place for our folks, there's a couple things. Like
Mhm.
you were saying, go into the mind, which is definitely an interesting landscape to explore, and they've gone there a little bit
Yeah.
already in this past season with the cicadas in that Freddy Krueger-y kind of way. So that definitely is a possibility, because especially if they can get to people. And this is the other thing, during the day.
Mhm.
Do they find a way to find predators for these people during the day too? Would that up the scariness?
Um, yeah. What if they turn them against each other? You
Yeah,
know,
turn
monsters
people.
are real people.
Yeah.
People are monsters, so just turn them against each other. Those moles can start, doing the mole stuff in there.
I
Yeah.
really thought they would go the route of a new leader. Like they would have two factions, like people who follow Boyd and people who would
Mhm.
follow somebody else.
Yeah, the beach people and the cave
We've
people.
seen it in The Walking Dead, and it worked when they did it the first time.
You saw it in Lost too, as well.
So why not go that route? I think they kind of ruined the monsters a little bit this season. They're not scary. I don't know how they can go back to making them scary like they did in the first season. I don't know if they could actually pull that off. Again, they may have ruined them. So they're going to have to try to do something else because of that. It just seems like they're not an actual threat.
Yeah.
And the fact that no one died major this season is kind of whack.
Mhm. It's like they can have like night games just for fun. Okay, it's like Olympics. Let's run. Let's how many hits you can do on this one. Like I forgot what his name is. Randall, the one on top of
Mhm.
the bus. I mean, he's just making a game out of it. So
Because they had
there's
this
no fear.
nightmare creature in there,
Nightmare
and
creatures.
he
Mm.
didn't kill anybody. He killed people who didn't matter. So it's supposed to be this real big threat, and it was done in a matter of episodes. When they figured it out, they figured they killed it in a matter of episodes, and he didn't kill anybody. They should have, in all honesty, if they wanted to make an impact, they should have killed Julie. And I love Julie. I love the actress. She came on the channel and everything else, and I don't want her to die. I'd rather see her in the show. But for a show writing perspective, they wanted to make an impact. That's how you make an impact. You should have took her out, because she's a young girl, innocent. People would not have thought she'd die. You kill her, you make her succumb to this thing. Now you start making things are a threat again.
Yeah, you almost need to, like a pitcher needs to throw one fastball to keep the batter honest. A show like this needs to, and I'm not bloodthirsty. I love the actors that we've got a chance to talk to as well, and I don't want to see any of them out of jobs and stuff. But you need to kill one big character a season just to show that anyone can go, because it adds to the anxiety that watching a show like this helps. And that is one of, I should make a video of it, the top 20 things that The Walking Dead did destroy its excitement, and one of them is making the monster, the threat, a noose, like Elamar and I were talking, a nuisance, not a threat.
Mhm.
And you got in the feeling that characters have main character armor and couldn't be hurt.
Yeah,
You need
once you've seen those monsters like outside the gate and they're walking by the gate, and they're reaching by the gate. They're just walking by. I'm like, hey, look at the monsters right there.
Yeah.
And they
Yep.
start pissing on them and doing stupid shit like that. That's when you knew it was this guy. That was
And
Yeah.
it's not too far. Yes, that scene when they were running away from the zombies when Ellis was stabbed and they were trying to get him was a great filmed scene. But
Mhm.
a step further than that, a couple of those monsters that were chasing them looked like they were walking slowly towards them.
Mhm.
A little bit more like that. You got the Princess Leia chase from the Obi-Wan show.
Mm.
Like a few more steps, and you got. I'm not saying it was like that, but that's what it becomes unless you have them catch some people. And we've gone on about this over and over again, Tony. The way they got Father Cautry makes me think that the monsters were holding back on purpose this season because if you watch that scene again, I watched it a few times. They're pretty damn far away from him, and they
Mhm.
stretch like Mr. Fantastic.
Yep.
Like stretch Armstrong, its arm stretched further, and it stabbed him on the side.
Mhm.
It was a big reach. It was suddenly them-
Literally.
yeah, they were like Michael Jordan at the end of Space Jam, and where they're stretching to make the dunk. It was I don't know. So they definitely deballed them this season, and I think they're in a position now where they have to introduce a heavy. They need to introduce something that's scarier, and they kind of did with the dreamscaping, and
they dropped it too quick. You have to bring that into next season.
yeah, that's what LMR was saying too. You have to bring that
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah,
back
you should. Now the music box destroyed. That's over now. They can't. Do
Yeah, that they could have had a good couple episodes with that because that is more scary in my head. Like if in my mind, like if it's a threat that I can see and run away from if I feel like running, probably not. I would die right away. But if I chose to run, I can run away from it. Try running away from your thoughts. That's not that easy.
You gotta at least if you want to kill people
Yeah.
that don't matter, start killing people in colony, like wipe colony house out. People just falling
Mhm.
asleep and dead. Next person
Yep.
falls asleep and dead. Show that it's a
Yep.
threat that these people are dying. They can't keep their eyes open. They're trying their best and they're
Mhm.
falling against the wall and they're taking them out. You gotta kill people.
That would have been great if they did that. Just random, the extras.
Yeah,
Just
this
have
guy
them
killed-
like,
you gotta-
oh, and they're
if you
dead
wanna
on a
kill an
couch.
Extra, you got to kill 10. You
Mhm.
can't kill one extra. You got to kill the big girl with the
Mhm.
flash in the eye. You got to kill like 10 of these motherfuckers.
Somebody had to die on. Well, could have died on that couch that Julie was sleeping on, like the places that we see or remember seeing. Yeah.
Hannah says maybe we'll get a so-called Night King next season and get the head honcho monster of the mall. I don't know. I think it's all right. It depends how many seasons this is running.
Yeah.
To me, it's looking like 5. It's looking like a 5-season show. And I would think then if it is a 5-season show, then season 3 you would have to get the big guy in it.
Yeah,
At least at the end of the episode.
At the end of the season, at the end of the season, you would probably introduce it.
You would have to show him. So it looks like a 5-season show to me. Again, when I had the privilege to talk to the executives of the show, they stressed to me how this was the most popular show that they've ever had on this network. That being said,
They're such
maybe-
kind people.
they are.
They're the
And
best.
maybe they want to stretch it
Oh, they want to
to-
stretch.
out. You know what I mean? It's just the best show they got. They may not want to rock it 5 seasons. They may want to push this thing out ride it as long until the wheels fall off.
Hopefully not.
And it could be a situation like that. But when I look at the other shows on the network, and I can go through them, and I've watched them with Domina. I like Domina. I actually like that show. Billy the Kid was okay.
It was all right.
Godfather of Harlem is over. They don't have that anymore.
Young Guns is my Billy the Kid story, Tony.
Me
I-
too. Me
you,
too.
you can't beat the Young Guns.
Me too. And I look at the other. They got a couple other shows. We're gonna cover Winter King when it comes out. We'll cover that show when it comes. I think that drops at the end of the season. We'll see how that goes. The Winter King. I think that's about Merlin and King Arthur. That story and everything.
Keep
Winter
trying to
King.
do that. And again, I'll say that the best version of that's the Sword and the Stone, the old Disney cartoon movie. Everything-
It probably was. Camelot wasn't bad.
Camelot wasn't bad. It was, and I
It
like.
had it had its shot. Number one, the lady who played Guinevere was gorgeous.
Yeah, and the guy that played Merlin did a very interesting job. I also kind of have a soft spot for First Night sometimes, just because of Sean Connery being in it. That's the one with Richard Gere and Sean Connery and Mary Stuart Master Antonio, I think, plays Guinevere. But I just like Sean Connery's performance. But they keep trying to do that one. But my favorite is still the Disney cartoon.
Yeah, so I just think that, yeah, The Godfather of Harlem is over. That was the last season. The season of the show was the last season. So they don't have a lot to fall back on right now. Like usually when you drop a hit, you have another one. Like,
will they move it to Amazon, Tony? Eventually,
well, that could also be an Amazon situation. Amazon's in control, could do what they want, but usually have a hit coming out. Like, you know, the Amazon. What do they got? They got. I don't want to go into a rant about Amazon right now, but I'm very concerned about Amazon right now. Number one, the Lord of the Rings things was suspect to me. I didn't think it was that good.
Oh, it was horrible.
You know,
you're being too kind to
I'm
me.
having like bad memories from that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
They got the Wheel of Time is jumping off next month on Amazon. They didn't do a great job.
That's horrible too.
And now they got the rights to do God of War.
That's gonna be horrible too.
That scares the shit out of me.
Only two things that on Amazon that I really love, and they're gonna come to an end sooner or later, are The Boys and Invincible. It's all about those two shows.
Jack Ryan is good too, and I
haven't watched that yet, but
it's over. That was the last season, but Jack Ryan was.
I'll try to binge it.
Jack Ryan was a really good show. I ain't gonna lie about that. And then they got these. They got the whole Rainbow Six thing. The Tom Clancy franchises. Michael B. Jordan got the rights to that, so he's supposed to be doing that whole thing.
Another video
So
game.
you would think that maybe because Michael B. Jordan's attached to it, that it would be right. You know what I mean? But and everything else. But you know, they're suspect too with Amazon, so I can't, you know, just think that this because it's coming on. It's not Apple TV. Apple TV puts out a quality show.
Yeah. I wish I still had it, but it's the best service out there at the moment.
But besides HBO, Apple TV puts the next best quality shows out there.
Yeah, they've just hit a home run on so many shows. Just in the last year, as like, you know, shows like Severance, Shrinking, it continues. There's a lot more shows.
We're covering Invasion at the end of the month as soon as it goes on. So make sure you have Apple TV. Have to catch up on Invasion. We're doing Invasion at the end of the month. We're gonna start ripping those off and everything else. So let's just keep. Get yourself Apple. It's only $4 a month. Apple TV. It's the cheapest service of them all. It's not even close. You know what I mean? So yeah. So definitely check that out. We'll be back for those shows and everything else. But back to this show. We'll stay for a little bit longer, and then we'll be out of here soon. You know what I mean? But when dealing with the creatures, that's what we're talking about here. We looked inside the body. The body was petrified. And when I look at that, and the only thing we got in liquid was bile. Do you think they just put the bile in there to make you think that, hey, they had something to fight the creatures, just to say, nope, sorry, don't work? Or you think there's more to it?
I was thinking about the reason for bile in our bodies. I think it's just released during when we eat something, and especially something fatty. The more fatty the food, the more bile is released, I think. I don't know why they chose that. Maybe they're eating something. That's why they have bile.
Let me say something. I'm going to say something. Yeah. No, it's probably embarrassing, but maybe my embarrassment will save you from being embarrassed.
Okay.
Well, I was, you know, when I'm working out here in my weight loss phase to get cut and everything else, you know, I look for stuff to help the process. So I did a lot of WebMD searching and everything else. I said, let me find an actual pill that blocks fat, that does things like these, right? And thank you for the super chat, Eric C. Canelo is a GOAT. I can't monetize these ones, so appreciate any super chat that comes through. And I found the pill. It's called Allie. You may see it. It has colors on it, ALLIE, Allie. Right, you may see it out there. All right. So I took the Allie pill, and I was like, "Yeah, this is supposed to absorb the fat, not let the fat come to your body. Like it stops it from coming."
I don't know why
Well,
I'm imagining this has a picture of Ali G on it or something.
yeah, it should have had a picture of Ali G. Goddamn it. Well, I didn't read the fine print,
Oh
and the
no.
fine print says that this may cause anal leakage. Now, I did read it, and I said, anal leakage. What do they mean by anal leakage? I mean, what could that actually be? You know, a little squirty squirt,
I have a guess.
whatever. Let me tell you something, man. I
Oh,
sat
no.
down on my couch with my pants on, with
Oh
my
my God.
jeans on, and I said, "Let me go get a drink." I got up and I came back, and there was a huge oil stain on my couch. I said, "What the fuck is this?" I pulled my pants. My pants was soaked. My ass so with oil, and it's dead ass like it floats to the top of the water. It's oil.
Oh my
Floating.
God.
I couldn't leave my house. I had to call out of work for 3 days.
3 days, Tony. 3
Listen,
days.
It was unstoppable. I'm being honest.
1 day of pills or 1 pill?
I just took like 3 days in a row.
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
put a rag between my ass cheeks and leave it there because it would just come out. There's no stopping it. It would just leak constantly.
Do you have to go get a diaper or something?
I had to put a rag. I used a rag. I
Oh.
put a rag up there. I left the rag in there. So
Oh,
you
Damn you, Ali G.
Is it?
It's
You couldn't
totally
do anything about it. It just leaked, and it was a constant flow. You couldn't stop it. There was nothing you can do.
Oh my God.
It was the worst experience I had in my life.
Mount
I'm
Vesuvius is
telling you.
erupted.
So I would tell anyone, never take that shit in your life.
Peter
Unless
says,
you hate somebody,
oh my God.
crumple it up and put it in their food.
I was thinking about, like, here's a multivitamin. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to make you light on your feet.
Shit.
This
Oh my
podcast is brought to you by Alley Pills.
Oh
Alley Pills
God.
at your local GNC.
This
Oh my
Allie, don't fuck with that shit, bro. Allie, or whatever it's called. It could be called Ellie.
So there should be
Whatever it is.
coupons inside for the pens, right? Like
That-
you
I
get
got
a
a
pot of
70
that.
count bottle of this shit sitting there. I'll never touch it.
Oh my God.
I'll never touch it. Never fuck with this shit ever in life. It's just,
Oh my God.
I mean, it may work because that's what the oil is, so it may be working.
Mhm.
But the fact is that
That there's no control over it.
there's no control.
And you
over it.
don't even know when it's happening.
Yeah,
that
you
is
can't tell because
terrifying.
it's so little at a time, but it's constant drip like a faucet.
Oh
Like a
my
dripping
God.
faucet that's just
Like
constantly
the
coming out.
Folgers drip. like every drop into your cup. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Wow,
coffee drinkers, right?
I
Yeah,
know.
don't ever,
Mm.
ever. I'm
So,
giving you
what's
advice.
amazing about this is that story got triggered because we were talking about bile, because Tony now knows
Yes.
exactly what bile
Yeah.
is.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe that's what happened to those monsters. They completely dried out from the inside. Like everything just leaked out. Poor things, right?
Listen, I'm the only YouTuber who's real enough with you to tell you that story about himself. I'll tell you, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's like a colonoscopy story.
I'm a human being, goddamn it. I got conned by this shit and everything.
Oh,
He
Yeah,
got a
you had it.
plumber, Bitey. He got a plumber up there.
Oh, it was terrible. 3 days. It lasted for 3 straight days.
oh my God. That would
3
be
straight days.
terrifying.
I had to stay out of work 3 straight days. I couldn't. There's no way. There's nothing I could do. I had to stay out of work for 3 straight days,
Wow.
and that's just what it was.
Wow.
So, and that's what that bile is. So, but I think that bile, it just seems like it was, unless something else is going to happen because of it. It just seemed like he shot the monster. Nope, it don't work. Done. It's impossible for it to work if you if you look at the actual physics of it, and it would burn away on the bullet when he got
Yeah,
shot
we were
off.
talking about that. Maybe if they took the bullet apart and put it in there, but I
Right.
tend to think that the bile was just included just to give them the false hope in that moment in that episode, to give them something to mix it with, to give the dramatic moment of whether it was going to work or not in that moment. I think it's more interesting that everything was sort of dried up, to think that these things are just shells and being controlled by something else, in a sense, whether they be like the Utron. It's a Ninja Turtle thing where they these little brains that go inside alien brains that go inside human host bodies. But Krang is one of these creatures. If people know the character of Krang, but so it kind of just that's the part of it that I think is more interesting. That maybe these were bodies that are petrified or kept to be able to be used for someone else's purpose.
It seems like the
Mm.
bodies were, if they're petrified, it takes, how long does it take for a petrified body?
I don't
A
know.
long time, right?
Mm,
It takes to
yeah.
have a petrified body. So are you right that they have like let's say a peacemaker situation where the butterflies are going inside, taking over the whole?
Yeah, possibly something like that. Again, I'm just throwing shit at the
And
wall.
the insides did look like bodies like you would see in the bodies that I like when I saw them like live were at the lab basically for like you dissect them. They're in the lab. That's the color. That's this sand kind of weird color to it. So that's how it looked like. Their insides. Yeah.
Mummification or something.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah. She said it was like a mummy. She said it was like petrified, like stone. Which again leads to the point that these things are animated, that they're automated. They're being controlled by something that can actually automate a body in that situation. A normal body can't function in stone. So there's something else going on there. It's being puppeteered somehow by something else that is allowing it to come alive and attack people at a time. But it's weird because they seem to have some sort of personality in them. They seem to have something but they all have the same. They're all smiling. They're all happy.
Yeah, it could be one personality going through a bunch of different vehicles, so to speak, Tony. Because you're right, they all kind of smile the same way, and they all get that same dumbass look on their face. I just want to yell like Fatima did. Get that smile off your goddamn face, you know.
Like they're fascinated, just kind of like walking around and like as if they have
Feel
never
better if
seen
you
it
came
or
outside.
right? Oh my god, that is creepy when they do that.
Come play. It's gonna be okay outside. It's fine.
Right.
And you know, again, we talked about them. They got something because you know they ran the whole porn star situation. Like this fool left the flowers out there. They played that whole game with him. She played the whole game with him, Jasmine, to get him. You know, oh, I'm gonna go away. I'm never gonna come back. Why? Because I can never touch you, and like, because you're never gonna let me in. You know, and she played the whole game, the long game she played with him, and to get his ass to open that goddamn window. You know, so how did she know that the flowers were being left there specifically for her? She had to see him staring at her. He may have pulled his dick out in the window.
Oh my god.
Oh, there was definitely some of that.
I was thinking just about that. Like, yeah, he's just watching them and being very happy about it.
Did. I bet you he shook his dick out the window. I bet you he did that. That bastard porn star. He looks like the type of guy who would do something like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no other way she would know that was for her, unless he did some dumb shit like that. Porn star, you bastard. You're nasty bastard. Nasty bad. She wasn't even interested when she was kissing him. She was like, "This motherfucker kissing me."
Give him a few minutes of excitement before I rip his gourd out
and everything else. All right, we'll take and people. Who's this? Real quick, let me. He says, oh. Sorry about that. Oh, I see. Sorry about that. People hitting me up. Again, the monsters are closely to zombies and vampires. Thank you, John Henderson, again. And I can't monetize the video. So anything that you send me is all I'm going to make on it. And so I appreciate it. John says, does the monsters take the insides of regular people, put them in a what is that? A monster, he probably means, right? Again, bodies to animate them like a, what? What's the word? Human cutlass? Human colus?
I have no idea how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I just said it wrong, but there it is.
I like the human cutlass.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, it could be a situation where if it's an alien race, they could be dying off, and they're looking for other species to merge with to keep them alive, and maybe they're taking these parts from these people? Because it seems like that's what we're
Mhm.
seeing. We haven't seen the lungs, the hearts
Yeah.
or livers or anything in them. We just see the bones.
It's hollow, it's empty inside. There's
Yeah.
literally a hole in there, right? Like
So
nothing in there.
they must be taking them for some
Mhm.
reason, and they could be just taking it just for the experimentation. Now, if it's an experiment and they're pumping them with drugs or pumping them with something, and they're giving them these foods and everything else, and these damn pancakes and this tea with shit in it, you know what I mean? It could be a situation going like that, and it's Mikey gives us the pronunciation here. It's a whole.
Homunculus? What? Homunculus? I will not.
Homunculus, homunculus. Thank you very much.
I think
Mike.
there is a word each time last time I think there was a word I had no idea how to pronounce. So this time again. So those are
Yeah, I feel like we're doing
Yes.
those like
Yes.
vocab thing. The
Yeah, nice.
vocab of
That
the
should
day
be a
is this.
thing, right?
Someone says fake means fake human, like a
Okay.
human husky.
Maybe that was the word from last time. I should have
Woodrow
remembered.
says a creature created by magic. I have seen nothing in this show that points to magic. How about you?
So kind of like Frankenstein's monster. Like he was put together from places, and that's more like sciencey thing, science fiction, I think.
Yeah, I
Put
mean,
them
we also got.
together.
We seem like we got another monster. We got we got two different monsters this season, right? We got the nightmare creature that we couldn't see, but we got the thing that drowned Elgin too, which looked more like a real zombie,
Mm-hmm.
right?
The Fatima
you know,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Fatima creature that people don't want to say is Fatima, but it was.
But it's fucking Fatima.
No doubt about it. But but we did get a different type of creature in there that people overlook that creature and stuff of Fatima. Thank you so much, Shiro. He says, hi everyone, been watching for a while, just never had the chance to catch the stream. Anyway, what do you think carried Boyd in the tent in episode 9, season 1? Anyone have any questions of what they think was
pulling the tent?
Pulling the tent.
Well, we
got
assumed it might
new
have
member,
been
Nicole,
at first.
thank you so much for becoming a new member.
We thought at first, at least I thought at first, that it was those spiders. But why would spiders do that? Like, why? And why didn't we see more of something?
Tractor beam. It seemed like
more
a
like
tractor
grabber.
beam. It seemed like some sort of tractor
Yeah,
beam, really, to me. The way,
yeah.
even the rhythm of which it got pulled was very, very
Mhm.
straight ahead, very
Yeah.
like almost careful. So I don't know if it was supposed to be the wind or something, but it seemed like something was dragging them.
They definitely got
Because it wasn't
dragged. They were
jerking it.
getting
It wasn't
caught.
like, pull,
It was
pull,
smooth.
pull. It was just kind of yeah.
Maybe that's magic.
Yeah.
Now, the only person that we seen after that was the boy in white. That's the only person we seen, right? That's it. We didn't see anything but the boy in white. That's all. Boyd thought it was the creatures because the first thing he did was try to put the talisman back up. To me, it's the fourth dimensional being who did it. Again, when you seen the Matthews house just go down for no reason, the only thing that could actually cause that to happen the way it did would be somebody in the fourth dimension. Again, Cats, thank you so much, Cats. Member for 3 months up in here rocking with us. When you are a fourth dimensional being, you can affect the third dimension, but they cannot see you in the third dimension. So you would just see the effects of everything happening, but you would not know exactly the reason why it was happening. So if a fourth dimensional being grabbed their tent, they would be dragged, but you wouldn't be able to see exactly what's dragging them.
Or even
way the house went down.
Yeah. Or even measure it. So to some people, it may look like magic because we cannot explain it. We would not be able to calculate it and rationalize it with, experiments or data.
Cats, number 3 months says, I want Fatima to be or become evil. And thank you for the super chat, Cats. We truly appreciate it. Would you like to see someone be evil? Would it be Fatima?
Well, motherhood can turn somebody into somebody, can not turn them, but bring out things that are very much surprising. Motherhood and fatherhood can change people
Yeah, and I
to
mean,
protect a baby and all that stuff.
we could be seeing the future of her in what we saw with Elgin. So she could be on her way to turning into that creature.
Yeah, I didn't ask for this. Says fourth dimensional is mystery and supernatural. I wouldn't say it's supernatural at all. I would say that it's always in a sci-fi movie. Fourth dimension is considered something out of space. It's something that Neil deGrasse Tyson would talk about is the fourth dimension. You wouldn't see that in anything else but something like that. Again, magic is science that's undiscovered, unexplained. In the end, we come in. Let's see.
Call from the voice at 916.
Uh-oh.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press
What's going on, voice in 916? You're rocking with the Don, Tony Teflon, Lady LMR, and
Hello. Hello, Tony. Hello, LMR. And Phil, welcome back. I missed you. The other day, we were talking about the monsters and how some of them have evolved. And I was thinking, in regards to a possible mole, what if the mole was not actually a human, but a fully evolved, whatever this is, hybrid? Instead of someone sent there to spy on an experiment or the evolution of whatever it is they're trying to do, what if it's actually a fully evolved whatever it is they're trying to create and they're trying to make more of them? What do you think about that?
All right, I will let them answer first, and then I will let them. So, what do y'all think? Could the mole actually be a creature hiding in the form of a human?
I'll let Phil answer that one first. I kind of got lost in that beautiful voice.
I mean, that would definitely open up the possibilities on what kind of creatures these are, because as Tony was saying earlier, we haven't seen anything that shows shape-shifting ability quite yet, but we do also know that they are able to sort of inhabit humans, these nightmare creatures, and they could use a human host body. So you could think that maybe not even shape-shifting, one of the people in town could be to steal the term that people were using in the chat. I'm not going to use that word, but a golem of some sort that is not a real body, but a monster propelled body of some sort. So I do think that's another place that they could go in this next season, would be the mole threat. We've hinted at it a few times. We've had some sneak outs for it, but this next season seems like, at least to me, in the nature of the storylines and the way these things work, that we'll probably deal with the mole in season 3.
Elamar, what do you think about this mole? Could it be a creature hiding in human form?
I don't think it would be like that. I think it's more of actual humans. Or somebody who thinks they're human. If this is a mole and they are a monster of some kind, I don't think they're aware of the fact that they're the monster. Because even I think there's something more to it. Mole is somebody who was coerced into being a mole.
Mm-hmm.
They may be holding something or promising something. So I think it's a human being, and if they are not aware of it, the fact that they are a monster.
Yeah, I think it's a good chance that there could be someone in there in human form. We see these creatures are in some type of human form, so I don't think it's a stretch that it could be a mole as someone else walking around as a human being, just trying to pretend everything. So yes, voice of 916. I think you could be onto something there.
Yeah, and it could be that they were programmed to forget that they were actually of this other form and that they are actually human. So it just occurred to me one morning. I was like, I wonder, is that possible? So I thought I might ask and share the idea and see what your thoughts were on it.
Well, I thank you for sharing the idea. I think it's a solid idea. I'll have to do a little bit more digging on it to see if we can get anything from that. Again, if it's going to be anyone, to me, I think Donna's still got to be top of the list in this situation. I mean, though she was tied to the tree and everyone else, and they want you to think that she wasn't, I think that in the end, Randall will be proven to be right, but he was wrong in the actions that he took about it. He jumped the gun too much. But I think it's going to prove it in the end. I think it's going to be Randall was right that Donna is the mole.
I agree. It completely makes sense. Donna's my girl, but she's pretty sus at this point. So, yeah. But thank you all for answering my question and enjoying. I just joined in, and I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing. And you all have a wonderful day or evening.
See, we're talking about Donna right now, and Donna's gonna come in with her hands in her pocket and be like, "Hey guys, what you talking about?" That's why she's shady.
I think she has some candy in those pockets, or that knife.
And it's a lot of candy. And thank you, 916. We love you. We have much love for you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for everything else. I mean, just take us other super chat. It's truly appreciated. From Cheryl, I had a theory that the place is Victor's home. So the reason why I would say it's not Victor's home is because we have specifically the mom says that when she comes back after she saves the kids, they're going to go home. So that would mean to me that that wasn't the place, that the place they're at is not their home.
Yeah,
that they're going to go home after she saves these other kids are out. They're going home.
And when he said that this is his home, it basically he spent his entire life, technically, minus those however old he was. So to him, this is home now.
He's institutionalized there.
Yeah, 100% on that and everything else. I think we who the Scraggle Tape Shop says, "Don't put me in the box tonight."
The box.
Yeah, what you didn't do anything to get put in the box. Why would you be nervous?
They're like, not the box.
Yeah, Tony, don't put me in the box. Don't
so
tickle
bad.
me, Auntie. Don't stop it. No, that's wanting to be put in the box.
He is trying to put me. He wants me to put him in the box.
He wants to put Tony in the box. I think that's what needs to happen. Oh my!
It seems like that's what he wants.
So the only thing about Victor's backstory with his mother, and I guess just to argue the devil's advocate, because I do agree with everything you're saying about Victor, but the only thing is that everything Victor could remember could all be bullshit and could all have been programmed by something. Like he could never have had a mother. He could have been grown there in a petri dish, as far as we know. Like he's not a reliable narrator ever. But I tend to agree with what we've seen. I think everything about his mother is true, but the counter to that is he's very programmable. So something could have easily programmed him to remember anything and just, hey, Victor, actually that's not true. Your parents were Marge and Homer Simpson. Doe. Oh, right. Yeah, I remember. He used to say doe and drink beer. Like Victor would believe anything.
Yeah, and he moved those cars all in that one spot by him. Why did he do that?
And how did he do it?
How did he do that?
Wow.
How do you know how to drive? Did he crash a lot of those cars at first?
Yeah, there was no dents in these mothers. They were all lined up perfectly.
Tony, I don't know about you, but the first couple of times I tried to drive, if you just put me behind the wheel, I'm breaking some stuff.
Yeah, again, the story just doesn't make sense when you look at the whole story. It doesn't make sense. Now you can chalk it up to bad writing, but I think he's a good writer. So I think that the hint is that the Victor's a liar.
Or he's not, or he's too controlled to actually be able to discern what is truth and what is fiction, and he's just sort of a tool for something else. I don't, and that's just the question, though, Tony. Is he actively lying by choice, or is he lying by the way he's programmed?
I mean, yeah. Let me take this Woodrow because he says he forgot his sister. So what? You forgot your dad, so what? Everything else he said.
Yeah, I forgot to eat today. Am I all right? I mean,
how can you say so what? No, that's not so what. It's a big deal. You don't know you have a sister. Everyone knows they have a brother and sister.
I
He
guess he
grew up
just
with her. She was
talks
in the
about the
thing.
drama, not the drama, the trauma that he experienced. But
No, so there's no way to say that if he forgot
Hmm.
his sister, what else did he forget?
I forget your name. I haven't talked to you in a while. What's your name? Joni? Pony? Tony? Oh, it's Tony. LMLA?
Right.
LMR.
Letters, bunch of letters, right?
I remembered it.
You know,
was
so I mean, you can't just say he forgot to the so what. That's not the way it goes, bro. It doesn't work like that. You can't believe what he's saying. He's an unreliable narrator. We can't believe. He said we can't believe the characters. Why watch the show? You can't believe the characters because you can believe some of them. Doesn't mean they're all telling you the truth. There's a lot of people. Right? Again, if you go through Game of Thrones, let's go back to the character of Reek. Right? He lied this whole time. Said he was Reek. He really wasn't Reek. He killed Reek and he took his identity. Why? For his own benefit until he revealed himself as Ramsay Bolton. Right. So yeah, that's just what it is.
Tony, if you go to another Augustus Hill show, another Harold show, and you go to Oz with him being the narrator, with Harold being the narrator of Augustus Hill, you come to find out that everything he's saying in those narrations is the book he's writing about what you're actually seeing going on. And it's not all exactly what you see, but you're seeing it from the narrator's perspective. So he's not every narrator is a reliable narrator. They're going to tell you from their perspective. And I think in Victor's case, and that's why I asked you the question, do you think he's lying on purpose, or do you think he's just a manipulated force that's wishy-washy and can't really remember truth from fiction?
I think it could be a little bit of both. I don't trust him, so he could be. I think he's more of a Kaiser Soze situation.
Yep,
going on when he's just playing dumb.
So did you really not watch Squid Game?
I've never watched that show.
Okay, because then I don't want to spoil.
I'm never gonna watch it, so there's no.
Well, it has a similar situation with a Kaiser Soze kind of situation with a character that seems weak through most of it, but ends up being the controlling situation at the end.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I got to watch it, and then Woodrow is going through it all. He wants to keep talking about 40 years of trauma.
Yep, I'm spoiling everything, Scrago.
Victor doesn't trust Elgin because Elgin could expose him for the truth that he is. That's why he doesn't trust Elgin. That's what it is, because Elgin's going to expose him for the shit that he's been doing, and he doesn't trust him for that reason. You know, you've seen that in other shows too. In Robin Hood. And thank you for Coco for member for 1 month. It's a great stream tonight. I appreciate it. Member for one. When Robin Hood, Kevin Costner, the witch didn't trust the painted man, right? Yep. Sam, which is Morgan Freeman, right? Because Morgan Freeman could see her for what she was. You know, everything else. So that's the way it goes sometimes and everything.
And officially, everybody, if something's been out like over a year or so, I'm not holding back on spoilers. Like it's I got to be able to talk about other shows sometimes. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry about the Squid Game spoilers in the chat.
No, it's been out too long. That's just a different situation. Ain't no one gonna go watch that show anymore.
Same with The Usual Suspects. If you haven't watched The Usual Suspects by this point, we're not spoiling anything for you. Right. Yeah, definitely keep calling me out, Tape Shop, every single time. I'm the spoiler. Put me in the superhero costume, the spoiler. They kill the shark at the end of Jaws every time, everybody. and Michael Caine in the last one, and he's in the water and his shirt's dry. Watch the movie. He did the stunt with a dry shirt.
All right, we're about to be out of here, but before we do, you know how we end it with the beautiful Call Away.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are out of here. The Don Tony Teflon Lady LMR. Feel the issues, guy. You like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across around. But as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace.
And stay sexy.